What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today, I want to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So SoFi did pull back a little bit on Friday, so it went down 3.21%, which was the last trading day in 2023, and that resulted in SoFi going up 116.78% in 2023. Pretty big accomplishment if you ask me. I still do feel that 2024 and onward is going to be bigger and better things from here. So we just have to sit tight and wait. But as far as this upcoming week, it could be a very volatile week. So Monday is going to be closed due to New Year's. So happy New Year's, everyone. 2024, like I said, will hopefully be better than 2023 for a lot of our investments. But aside from that, though, there's three main things to watch for. Well, I guess kind of four. So starting off on Wednesday, FOMC meeting minutes. And keep in mind, like that is what kickstarted this whole rally about the potential thought of cutting rates sooner rather than later. Possibly as soon as March. I think that's what the street is anticipating. So once again, that could really flip the broader market or could continue this value rally or a Sandra rally, whatever the hell you want to call it. So that one will be a very big one. So that's Wednesday at 2 o'clock. On Thursday, there is ADP non-farm employment change, which so far the forecast is around 100,000. So that's not all that bad, but still two very big indicators linked to consumers is that, as well as non-farm payroll, which the forecast so far is about 158,000. So pretty big stuff. Aside from that, though, there's a hell of a lot of Fed speakers throughout the week. So they are done their holidays essentially now. So they're back at it. A lot of those could disrupt the broader market. So this week, I think might have a realization. We'll just have to watch and see whether the fear and greed index as well does start to pull back, because currently it is at 76. So most likely you are going to see Tuesday have a kind of a green day, in my opinion, largely due to this. So the broader market does want to propel stocks higher. But the results of that meeting minutes and what is actually said in there on Wednesday, that is what is going to start off by disrupting the broader market. My own opinion. At the same time, you are having a lot more analysts coming out saying that there is a pullback due starting in 2024. Although they're not saying that the broader market is going to be bearish for long term, it's just going to be a short term pullback due to the technicals, because a lot of stocks, if you look at them, he was talking more broad indexes and whatever else, but even in SoFi's case, if we pull this up, so even in SoFi's case on stochastic, and even Rivian was up there, like you see the stochastic is very overbought for a very long extended period, similar nature to the S&P, like Russell. All of them are showing the exact same scenario. So this is where this analyst right here is saying that he is anticipating a pullback, and the only thing that might save it, so there'll be a continuation of a pullback up until the next CPI data, which should be very positive, and that will propel the broader market higher. The next CPI data that is coming out is right here. So the December 2023 data is coming out January 11th, 2024. So once again, take that how you see fit. A lot of analysts, like I said, just somehow flipped over the last couple of days, like especially on SoFi's case. Thursday showed some signs of weakness somewhat because it did fail to get above that 1028. Friday was consolidation day. So in my opinion, I feel like Tuesday could be a green day, especially as a result of Friday being consolidation. It just will come down to the fact if SoFi is able to get over a lot of the key resistance points. If not, then it is going to bounce off of that and trend lower, similar to what this analyst is saying. I'll play this 2-minute clip near the tail end of the video, but I'm going to go over some additional information. So as of late, there has been no recent PR, no SEC filings. Anticipate SoFi and a lot of companies to be putting out a lot of PR for 2024, so that could be a good thing. Shorts, though, right now, shorts did return about 183.78 thousand shares on Friday, the last trading day in 2023. 13.79% of the free float is being shorted. 123.35 million shares overall are being shorted. So that still is extremely high. And then cost to borrow average is 0.8%. Through Interactive Brokers, short availability around 10 million shares or more than 10 million shares are available to be shorted. So once again, I feel like shorts are going to naturally be leaving in 2024. probably the second half of 2024 more specifically. But moving on from that though, options activity. So $11 million in calls being purchased versus $255 million in puts. And based on the sentiment though, 45% of all the options that was purchased on Friday was bearish. So people maybe were anticipating a little bit of a pullback. One odd thing that I did notice, especially during the last little bit. So if we kind of zoom over to the intraday on what happened with SoFi, you will notice that it was actually above $10 up until give or take the last, 20 minutes. Then it just started to go down from here. It's as though someone had a financial interest in SoFi not being above $10. And that is because of this. So I did say this time and time again. It was around 27,000, I think, on Thursday. So clearly some people sold it. But there was 18,000 in open interest at that $10 strike price for the December 29th expiry date. Call options, of course. So that does mean market makers would have had to have bought that on the open market starting on Tuesday to cover those positions. And so yeah, that's clearly someone had a financial interest in bringing it below $10, and it's very apparent right here. So who knows, some manipulation is happening clearly behind the scenes with SoFi. But let me know your thoughts on that. Found that kind of interesting. But regardless of the call options that are currently there is a assumption that it is going to be above, oddly enough, $11 by the end of next week. So maybe a lot of anticipation of some positive data coming out. Like I said, those 3 or 4 things that are coming out this upcoming week, maybe some optimism. Looking at puts, it is anticipated to be sub 950. So I feel like the risk and reward is still very much there. People are still optimistic about SoFi. So once again, let me know your thoughts on that. Technicals, let's talk on that for a second. So with it at $9.95, it is between this pivot and this R1. So 970 is a very strong support that you'll want to watch for. Vice versa, 1006 is going to be that next strong resistance. Of course, we already do know that $10 is also a very big psychological resistance. So there's those 2 points to watch for. It is still optimistic. So even though a lot of analysts and whatever else, like I mentioned, are anticipating a pullback, based on the Elliott wave technicals, assuming it is above this 881 pivot point, then it is anticipated to continue to go up anywhere between this 1170 and 1230. So behind the scenes, it might pull back a little bit more to consolidate, reset a lot of these technicals, including stochastic, and then that way it can still try to go up from there. And it does have that 881 as a pivot for that, which is kind of roughly this S3. So that is kind of extreme if you ask me. Like, it would have to be a pretty broad pullback for that to happen. If anything, it might pull back to this S1, so 933, but I still do feel, even though it might pull back, like 2024, like they're going to kick ass. Tomorrow will be obviously locking in all the Q4 numbers. So today will be, I guess, the last day and all the other fun jazz. So SoFi is going to kick ass on this upcoming earnings, which will be released obviously February or whenever else. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Do you believe in SoFi bigger picture? Oddly enough, some comments on my last video, people are very bearish on SoFi. They are anticipating for it to sell off. That is just going to bleed. Like, I don't know where that is, maybe just some trolls, but I feel like over the last couple of videos, there has been more and more trolls for whatever reason. So once again, that might mean something, that might not mean anything. I don't know. I'll leave it up to you guys to make that determination because I am not a financial advisor. So like I mentioned, I'm just going to play 2 minutes of this quick video. Just puts it in perspective on what a lot of analysts are actually saying about this upcoming week, how there might be a pullback. Well, not just this week. They're talking on short term, so probably 2 weeks or something like that. But once again, let me know your thoughts.
Our next guest is out with a new note today saying that the markets could kick off 2024 with a short-term pullback. Let's bring in New Edge Wealth's Ben Emmons, a guy who casts an eye on macro all the time. Ben, you heard the conversation on the desk. I wonder what you think about that overall big picture for the global economy. Is it supportive, and why do you think we're due for a pullback?
Yeah, I would be with more the others about this pullback. You know, there's several signs, I think, for the short term. You know, if you look at the RSI indicator, you know, the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the Russell are all overbought on that indicator, but they mostly are overbought as much as they were overbought during the 2020-21, let's say bubble moment, and they even is overbought for a longer period of time. I think it's almost like a month and a half now. So that's quite stretched. And if you then take the story to interest rates that we're just discussing, the bond market, in my calculations, probably priced more like 75 basis points of excess rate cuts. It almost looks like the bond market is priced for this perfect scenario of a second Fed pivot to faster, deeper cuts. I think that's the tension as we're getting into the new year. We have a packed agenda of
Also, it is to note that he's talking on a continuation of a rally. Despite him saying the short term is kind of overbought, he's still talking on how there is going to be a continuation of a rally, which, in my opinion, is kind of justified.
Of big data, the economy shows some sign of acceleration. And GDP now went from 1.25% to 2.25% over the last sort of 4 weeks. So there's some sort of acceleration going on. So I think interest rates are primed to pick up a little bit from here and then take back that overbought condition on the equity indices.
What part of the market is going to be the most vulnerable to that pullback? Is it going to be the stocks led to the upside? And if that's the case, then which stocks do you put on the list in case it's just a dip to buy?
So I found notable, Dom, that if you look at small caps, right, and you plot that against the junk market, take the J&K ETF against the Russell 2000 ETF. Since the end of October, it's just exactly straight line up, more like a lockstep. So as Julie says too, and Steve says, like these sectors are highly interest rate sensitive. I would almost call them like they're sensitive to the relief of interest rates. So if you get a bit of a backup in rates, I would think that there's where you see the first real correction. Seems like kind of a bit of a frothy moment there in each market. On the other hand, the big cap, the mega cap are probably going to stay in a good trend here because that's really about earnings. And I don't see these earnings being downgraded so quickly just because we're getting a short-term correction in rates.
And there you have it. So, yeah, bigger and better things are coming down the pipeline. I'm not going to play the whole video for you because, yeah, it is what it is. I've already kind of summarized what you need to know. But hopefully everyone has an amazing 2024. Bigger and better things are going to be coming down the pipeline. Very excited for SoFi's Q4 earnings and their 10K as well. So their 10K, like that'll show pretty good quarter over, I guess, year over year growth, pretty substantial across the board. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, I appreciate all of you watching.